Welcome back to the KDPG Sunday edition. Our guest this morning is Congressman Mike Kelly from the 16th Pennsylvania Congressional District. He is a Republican, and he was just reelected this past year. Sally Stapleton of the Post-Gazette is also with us. Sally?
So my question is, I want to hear what your constituents are calling you about.
Sure.
Vis-a-vis the shutdown. What are they saying?
Do you know what we're really doing, and this is, we had this awareness early on, and I was talking, because we have an office in Erie, Pennsylvania, we have an office in Sharon, Pennsylvania, we have an office in Butler, Pennsylvania, so big district, but we try to cover it the right way. And so what I was asking, when we have our staff calls, we've been done with our conference calls, listen, you know what? Let me know what you're hearing and who's showing up and what it is they're asking us. It's about a 70% positive, where people say, tell the president to stick to his guns, tell the president not to cave. And then there's another group that says, you know what, I'm so fed up with this guy, tell him. And so, and I was with somebody the other day, that was Neil Cavuto. He said, well, you know what, but Congressman Kelly, that's your district, that's not the country. And I said, well, Neil, when we start looking at a survey of 1,000 people, my question is always, who did you call and what did you ask them? With us, we've seen an overwhelming support for the president. Now, after this airing of this, somebody's going to say, you know, I better get on the phone and tell Kelly I don't like what they're doing. But so far, so good. And even when I go through the airports, because I get to see these folks, and they'll say, you know what? I don't like going without my pay, but we've got to get this done. I don't understand why this has become such a political battle. I said it's become a battle over the election of 2020 and not what's good for America today. We can't possibly let the president have a win. I said, but it's what you've agreed to. In decades, you've said you want to do the same thing.
When you were elected in 2010, would you consider that you were part of the Tea Party movement?
Do you know what? People said to me, so you're part of the Tea Party? I said, no, I'm one of the dealers that the federal government decided I wasn't going to have a Cadillac franchise anymore. And I thought to myself, my gosh, my mom and dad worked every day of the week in order to get us a family business started, and I would be damned if I'm going to sit here and get a 39-page letter from the federal government that says, you know what, you're no longer going to have that business. I said, whoa, wait a minute. You know, this is Mike Kelly in Butler, Pennsylvania. You get a phone call, so you better sign that and send it back and give up that Cadillac franchise. I said, no, I'll take the alternative. I'll go and I'll fight it. And you know what? We won, and we got to keep the dealership. And I thought, what? How in the world do people come up with these ideas? And how could anybody take from a private citizen something that they had invested their entire life in, and for what reason? And it was, I don't want people who don't have 1 minute, 1 second, or $1 or 1 penny invested in my business telling me you're no longer going to represent that product in the town you live in. So there's times in your life, it's like a wake-up call. You say, you know what? I'm not taking this.
So let me, I'm sorry. Your story is exactly the same story of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's. She felt the same thing.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's a fascinating similarity.
Yeah, I don't know her that well, but what I do know about her is her background isn't, she doesn't come from the poorest of the poor. She doesn't come from an area where she grew up in an area where she didn't have access to education, and she didn't have some of the finer things in life. I don't know her. I haven't met her. I know I think she's on financial affairs right now. So she's going to have a chance to do it. But some of the statements that she makes, it's hard for me as a senior now, a 70-year-old, and looking back at my life and saying, this idea is probably a good one for us to run with. I'm not sure that she has the depth of experience of just life. It's easy to say things, that this is the way things should be. You say, that's fine. How do you do it?
But I was just struck by the passion in which you talked about your mission. It mirrors what she's saying too.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? She connects very well with millennials, and I think that's one of the things we have to look at. Say, how is she talking, and what does she say that attracts, and what are we not saying, or what are we not recognizing? Issues with our own society.
I want to get back to where I was going with this for just a second. So that's why you were elected, and then when President Trump ran, you were full bore behind him without question. Are you still?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The untold story of this administration, or the one that isn't reported as much as I think it should, is the economic resurgence of the United States of America. When we see what has happened in our economy, we have the lowest unemployment that we've seen in probably half a century. When we see wages rising, it's now about 3.5% the last quarter. type of things. And we see towns having life being pumped back in. You know, part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was opportunity zones. We created an opportunity for towns that nobody wanted to put money back into, say, you know what? We want you to go back in there. We want you to create jobs. We want you to create the vitality that these towns had, and we can do it through tax policy. We accomplished that. But the economic revival is one of the things that has been kind of lost, and it's become a thing of, well, what? Yeah, he's done really good things, but I don't like his tweets. And I said, well, forget his tweets. Let's look at the on the score, on the field. How did we do, and are we winning?
Well, I'm going to go back to when we began this program,
Sure.
And we talked about the federal workers and people not having being able to access $1,000.
Yes.
You stated just a few minutes ago that the cost of living has gone up significantly, and people aren't doing very well. Now you're saying that they are doing well. So which is it?
Well, no, wait a minute. Now you're talking about the 800,000 that are furloughed. I'm talking about when you look at the United States and you look at the economic revival, we have more people working today than we ever had. We have 7 million jobs that are open right now looking for somebody to fill them. We're looking at people's paychecks rising. And then you say, but wait a minute, when you look at federal employees, 75% of the government is funded, 25% is not. That represents 800,000 people. And for those people, they're not seeing an economic revival. They're seeing a halt sign, and it's not letting them go forward. I will tell you this. I want to see those people get paid. I want to see them get back to work. And I talk to people every day that are still on the job and not getting paid. I'll just tell you from a perspective, that's not right. We have to find a way. That's why we put 3% that would have funded these folks, but we couldn't get help from the other side to get it across the board.
A lot of people will say that $5.7 billion is a lot of money
Sure.
for a wall.
It is a lot of money.
You're a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. The Ways and Means takes a look at the money and how we're going to figure out to spend it.
Yes.
Is it there to spend?
It is there to spend. It's in different pots, and we could actually move things around. I think as we continue to move forward, there is going to be an issue when it comes to executive powers. Does the president have the power then to maybe shift some of these pots of money that aren't being used right now, allocated but not being used? Can we take that and put it into other assets? Funding some of the paychecks for these people is one of the things I think he's going to be able to do as an executive. Doesn't want to do them. The legislative process, but I think if push comes to shove and we see too much going on, he does have other levers that he can use and make sure that these folks get paid.
I want to follow up on something Sally asked a little in our first segment, and that is the change, and this goes into for your role on the House Ways and Means Committee,
Yes.
and you are the ranking member now of the Oversight Committee. You had the power before, now you don't. So as an oversight person, you really can't even subpoena anybody to bring them in, can you?
You know what?
Not that you subpoena that many people on oversight.
I think the unique thing about being on oversight, you get to be the watchdog for the American people. And people say, well, what does that mean exactly? I mean, it's oversight. It is oversight. I represent 705,687 people in Pennsylvania's formerly 3rd District, now 16th District. I don't know if they're Republicans or Democrats or Independents or Libertarians. I don't know what they are, but I know they deserve representation, and they deserve the fact that somebody's there watching their hard-earned tax money being spent the right way, and also ensuring that the federal government isn't coming down on them and doing things to them that's right. I would like to see the IRS become a service agency. I know it's an enforcement agency, and I know it's a collection agency, but you know what? You shouldn't be scared to death if you get a letter from the IRS. And one thing I will say to our viewers, if you get a phone call and somebody says, I'm from the IRS and you need to send us a check right away, totally ignore that. The IRS does not call you. They send you a letter and you get a chance to respond. Now, I've been watching this take place. The 8 years I've been there, people call me, the IRS just called me. I said, no, they don't.
It's
now,
a
my
scam.
job, Stace, but look at this. You know who I get to sit with on the Oversight Committee? John Lewis.
Yeah.
I have walked across the Pettus Bridge with John Lewis on the 50th anniversary, and when I did, I took my 8-year-old grandson. So George and I are walking across the bridge with Congressman Lewis. I said, now, George, you and I are going to come back on the 100th anniversary, and we're going to walk across the bridge. And he said, oh, Grandpa, that's so great. You know, you and me and Mr. Lewis? I said, yes. He goes, well, Grandpa, how old are you? I said, I'm 64. He goes, Grandpa, you're going to be really old. I said, well, let's do this then. You push me across. So I mean, it's part of our history. But John Lewis is iconic.
We are really out of time. I just have to ask you this.
Yes.
Will there be an impeachment movement in the House, do you think?
You know what? I think that there's going to be a movement to go that way. There's going to be a movement to do that. I would just hope this. The American people are losing faith and trust in our government. If the most important thing you can accomplish is to impeach Donald Trump because you can't stand the fact that he was duly elected, that's not why we're there. We're there to protect the American people, and that's what we should be concentrating on.
Congressman, thank you so much for being with us this
Thank you.
morning.
Sally, it's nice being with you. Nice being with you.
We'll be back in just a moment.